Hello, my people, and welcome back to the Triple A-Pex Podcast. This is episode 20, and of course, I'm your host, 3LNEX, and then we have our co-host here, Keeper. The Castle Keeper, or Organic, it don't matter.
Uh,
We don't have vision here as of yet, but we're still going to get through this episode, and we have some interesting stuff to talk about. We're not going to primarily be focusing on Apex Legends during this episode, though, as there really hasn't been much to talk about, and we have a few things that we have, that few topics at least, that we think could be worth talking about. And but first we're gonna get started with some of some Apex Legends stuff that we think should be talked about. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was a potential event. Well, it seems to be an event that's been revealed, and it's going to be some sort of folklore event, as it seems, a thematic event, as what it seems as well. And we don't know when it's going to be released. I saw Garrett Leaks post the video about it earlier, and yeah, I think we should talk about it. So, yeah. We do know that there are going to be two legendary skins we know of have been confirmed, which is a Fuse legendary, which is apparently a Poseidon skin, and a Lifeline skin, which is going to be a Mermaid skin. So it's going to be some sort of
ooh,
mythology themed event. So what do you think of that? And what do you think the other skins are going to be like? I'll actually try to pull up a list of what the other ones were.
the folklore event sounds pretty cool because it sounds unexpected because the usual themes is like it's like very cybernetic type stuff, which is what Apex Legends usually does, or like beast type of stuff. So a folklore event would be kind of cool. I don't know about a lifeline skin because people don't usually play lifeline, but I think a Poseidon skin that sounds pretty cool.
There's
Like
also there's
folklore
also a
event.
gun charm for the Fuse beside. I think it's actually a gun charm. I don't know if it's a skin or not. I'd probably assume there's gonna be a legendary skin and a gun charm that's gonna be Poseidon themed or whatever for
Ooh.
Fuse. And there's also a gun charm for Lifeline as well, which is also the mermaid one. So I think they might have legendary skins that are of what they're said they are, and they'll probably have a gun charm to go with it, is what I'm guessing. So that'll be
Yeah, that
really
makes
interesting.
sense.
And then, okay, here's a list of the other skins that'll be coming out. So we're getting a Caustic skin, and I think it's going to be an Epic, a Loba Epic, an Octane Epic, a Seer Epic, Peacekeeper Epic, R31 Epic, R99 Epic, and a Volt Epic. Or at least I think they're epics. And then we have the Fuse, again, we have the Fuse, which is a Poseidon skin, then Lifeline, which is a Mermaid skin. Those should be legendary, as what I'm reading right now.
Okay.
And we also know that there's a Space Pirate event. We don't know if that's going to be thematic or a collection event. That's going to be coming sometime in the future as well. I don't know if we know too much about that one, but we have information about the folklore event. So, yeah, it seems really cool. I'm excited to see what they do in terms of the skins. I'm thinking it might be something kind of similar to what they did for like the Lost Treasures event, or might have a similar look to some stuff from that, except it's more mythology based. Well, but the Marble Goddess Wraith skin is mythology based, you could say. But this next event, I feel like it's gonna be more solely based on mythology or whatever. And I don't know if that's gonna be the collection event or not, but we'll just have to wait and see further down the road.
Yeah, it just sounds like, you know, like since Storm Point is an island, it's probably just gonna be water type of, like Poseidon mermaids,
Yeah,
stuff like that, seahorse type stuff.
I think it would be really convenient if that was the collection event, because mostly because like yeah, Storm Point is an island, and yeah, it would just make sense to have like certain like aquatic based mythology like skins or aquatic based mythology type of event. Like I think that would be really convenient. But the Space Pirates event, I think that might work as well. It depends because, and I think I did actually mention this before with like how we have like the Mirage and the Gibraltar skin that have like these kind of futuristic like helmets in which you could probably say are kind of
Yeah,
space piratey, but I don't know. Like I think both will probably work well in terms of like the map and how that is themed. But we're gonna have to wait and see. It sounds really interesting. And I also kind of want to talk a little bit about the Holo-Day Bash event, which has pretty much been an year annual thing for Christmas. And what are your thoughts on it? What do you think's gonna be up with this event, like when it releases? Obviously, it won't be a collection event, but what do you want to see in this event, and what do you
Hmm.
feel like should? But whatever.
I want to see. What's that one event called? The the fucking train one. What was the train one? I forgot it.
The Winter
Uh,
Express mode or
yeah, Winter
whatever.
Express. I forgot about the name. But
That was
yeah, I really
fun.
want to see that again. Yeah, that was so fun because it was so like it so wasn't Apex Legends. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
wasn't Battle Royale.
it was arenas
So that's
before
why
it
it was
became
fun.
arenas, basically,
For real.
and it was really fun. And they did add a little more to the event with like the drop ships and you jumping off them, like whenever
Yeah.
you'd respawn back in. That was really nice, and it kind of did bring a little bit more of an adrenaline factor into it. It didn't really do a whole lot though. I have heard that it may be a little toned down from what it was last year in terms of like the next limited time mode, which would probably be the Winter Express, but I don't really know. I think having it with like the drop ships and whatever, I think it's gonna be. Oh, whoops. I think, I think that's gonna be really cool. Whatever, and it's a fun mode. I think it's a fan
Yeah, it
favorite
really
pretty
is.
much, and yeah, and you can play whoever you want. Well, no, I mean you can always play whoever you want in game, but
Yeah,
like,
and you get loadout
yeah, you
for
got the
that
loadouts.
character.
It really depends on like the loadout, though, in my opinion. Like, if a certain character has like a certain loadout that you really like an R301 or a Wingman, for example, like that'd probably be, if you're a fan of those weapons at least, that'd be the loadout you'd really want to
Yeah,
stick with, and you'd
I
probably
like
end
it.
up
I really
choosing a
like the
legend
game.
that you're not really comfortable with. So I can actually see it being a little beneficial in terms of that aspect. But I don't know. I am excited for it. Again, I don't. It's not
Yeah,
going to be a collection event unless if they add in completely new skins, but I doubt they'll do that as we pretty much have skins resold a lot. So yeah, at least the cool Christmas themed skins will be coming back for people to purchase. That'll be really nice. But I don't really feel like there's too much to
yeah,
talk about. We know what to expect from the Holo-Day Bash event pretty much. We can expect like probably new prize trackers as well. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
yeah. The
Hopefully,
usual.
the usual fun. And I think that's pretty much all we have to talk about in terms of the next events. There was actually another thing I wanted to talk about, and that is the storm point changes that will be coming in the next update. And I found this from Dexerto articles, so we'll probably be reading a little bit from that and giving our thoughts on the changes that will be coming. So, including how battle royale circles work on the tropical island, how much cover is littered around the season 11 battlefield, and more. Okay, that's just the introduction to the article. And yeah, there's gonna be some changes to end circles and such, primarily because there's the wildlife spots like the prowler mounds and whatever, and it's not good landing on, or at least ending up in end circles on those spots. That has not happened to me, but that would not be good. Honestly, it would not be fun, especially how prowlers and even the spiders are pretty annoying to deal with already. More so the prowlers because there's
Yeah,
nothing to do to like not make them want to come out and fight you. Like the spiders, you can
yeah. They're
prevent
already
that
out.
by just not shooting. But the prowlers, nah, they just go for it.
For real. And they can jump. They can freaking jump. They pretty much have the melee buff before it was nerfed.
Yeah, pretty much. And they can move quickly or kind of do like strafing, depends on the
They can
situation.
tap strike. They can
Possibly.
literally tap strike.
And apparently there were also a lot of bugs that were reported when it came to certain stuff on the maps. And they have mentioned about stuff about cover, I think, with changing rock sizes and whatever. Yeah, so Reese, who's one of the devs, explained that they have changed things like rocks, which are now larger to provide more cover, and some areas have new cover and more in general round chokes. I don't know if that was changed like is kind of like a soft patch or if that's going to be in the next update. I don't really know. But yeah, that's going to be nice because cover is really important on Stormpoint if you really think about it
Yeah, it
because of
is.
how open it is.
And all the high ground. They need to add more
Yeah.
cover.
I think that's pretty much all I'll talk about that. It's just the endgame circles will be updated in the next update, and there's bugs that are being fixed with the new map and such in terms of cover or whatever, I guess. And this also kind of brings me to another thing that I've heard about, and that's prowlers and or the AI that are on Stormpoint being disabled during ranked. How do you feel about that?
That's actually pretty interesting. I think they should probably just turn off the prowlers and keep the spiders.
Yeah, I agree because the spiders, they don't attack you
They're
unless
only
if you
used for loot.
shoot at the nest and they come out. But the prowlers on
Yeah.
the hand, like we said earlier, they just do what they do. There's nothing you can do to prevent them from coming out of their nests and killing you, possibly. So
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe if it had better AI, like imagine if like for a survival slot you can add in like lures so you can lure in prowlers to attack other players. So
Ooh,
you can pretty much use them like strategically in ranked. That'd be awesome. Like you can lure a prowler. That'd be awesome.
that would
Or
be
like
really interesting.
you could throw down like meat or something and they go to it.
Or
That'd be
like,
awesome.
or maybe like they could implement some sort of like sonar device that could like, like make a sound that the prowlers are attracted to, and they'll go towards that, which will draw them away from you. I think
Like
that'd
the
be really
Minecraft
cool.
cave event. Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe or something kind of like wait, Jurassic World, right? Or Jurassic World Fallen
Yeah.
Kingdom. There was a part in the movie where like where like a laser pointer on like the weapon or on a gun would like make a sound, and when it was like on like a certain target or whatever, like the Indoraptor would go to where that laser was pointed. They could That's basically what I was kind of thinking of as well when I talked about the sonar that makes a sound and the prowlers would go to it.
Yeah, like a little like from Assassin's Creed or something. Like a little
Yeah.
whistle.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I don't know if that will be added though, but yeah.
Yeah, probably won't, but it sounds cool.
Yes, it would be. And of course, like I actually don't know how to feel about the prowlers being disabled during ranked or comp, honestly. But I do feel like it would be decent, real pretty good, since again they're annoying to deal with. But I also feel like the prowlers like have like it's easy to kill them like if just landing all your shots on them. So I don't know, but that is really interesting. And who knows? Maybe they will end up doing that. I can see them for sure doing it for comp. I mean, they disabled the golden knockdown shields for comp a
Yeah.
while ago, so they'll probably have that exclusively for like competitive. But I don't see them really doing that for just ranked in
Yeah,
game
maybe just
or
yeah, just
pubs.
comp. That makes more
Yeah,
sense.
it would make more sense. Yeah, that's all we have to talk about in terms of, like the future map changes and in terms of that. And now and we're actually going to be talking about some miscellaneous stuff that you might end up finding interesting or whatever. And the first thing that we will be talking about in terms of miscellaneous news is Windows 11 will soon block all default browser workarounds. So how are we feeling about this so far before we dive into the article?
Uh, it sounds kind of stupid. I don't really agree with that. I think it should just stay the way. Like, is there anything harmful? Like how would that be a drawback? Like allowing like you know what I mean? Like keeping it the same way it was. Why would they need to change it?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I'm
make
trying
much
to look a
sense.
little deeper into the article right now. There really isn't much, but Microsoft really wants you to use Edge. It wants you to use it so badly that it's making switching your default browser an incredibly annoying process. Okay, so it doesn't seem like they'll block all default browser workarounds, but they're going to make it an
I hope it
annoying
doesn't.
process. So that's a little bit
That's so dumb.
misleading. But yeah, it's really dumb. Are those workarounds that are out there? You can forget about those soon. Oh, so I guess they are getting rid of the workarounds. Okay. So Daniel Alexanderson, the creator of Edge Deflector, wrote a blog post. He said the latest Windows 11 Insider Preview builds prevent apps like Edge Deflector and other workarounds from getting around Microsoft's complicated process of changing the default browser and fighting off Microsoft Edge links. Here's what the post says. Something changed between Windows 11 builds 22,483 and 22,494, both Windows Insider Preview builds. The build changelog makes a few mentions of changes to the protocol and file association/default app system. However, it omitted the headline news. You can no longer bypass Microsoft Edge using apps like Edge Deflector. Okay, so that's a blog post that was posted by Daniel Alexanderson, I think. Okay, continuing. With the current,
that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, with the current workarounds such as Edge Deflector and Firefox's trick, the tools intercept OS-level URL requests that force you to use Microsoft Edge. Edge Deflector developer. He was Alexanderson is the developer, by the way. Sorry about that. Okay, so he said that Edge Deflector is an app that intercepts Microsoft Edge links found throughout the Windows 10 and 11 shells and other Microsoft apps and redirects them to regular HTTPS links that open in your default web browser. Microsoft uses these links instead of regular web links to force users to open them in its Microsoft Edge web browser. Alexanderson also says Windows 10 and 11 no longer care about the default web browser setting, which is sure to make lots of users extremely upset. I can already tell that you seem a little upset by it. Okay. Currently, this change is in Insider Builds 22,483 and 22,494, so they're on their way to the final version of Windows 11. Of course, Microsoft could change its mind and decide that the user outrage isn't worth making the change, but only time will tell. Okay, so, yeah, for sure there's going to be a lot of outrage. I don't think the outrage will be worth it, to be honest. It really depends, because I'm not really too crazy about web browsers. I mean, I use Google pretty much most of the time, or like all the time. But yeah, this is gonna make some people upset. And yeah, I will be sure to leave a link to the article in the description and whatever. I don't know how reliable it is, but we still used it. And Microsoft, please, it's not worth the outrage, in my opinion at least. But now we're on to another little article from Live Science, which is talking about a never-before-seen mineral. I don't know how interesting this will be, but I'm a fan of geological stuff, to be honest. And let's get into this information. So researchers thought the mineral was impossible to find on Earth's surface. That's starting this article off. And within a diamond hauled from deep beneath Earth's surface, scientists have discovered the first example of a never-before-seen mineral. This is interesting. It's named Dave Mauite, I think it's how you pronounce it, after prominent geophysicist Ho Kwang. Dave Mao. The mineral is the first example of a high-pressure calcium silicate perovskite, calcium silicon O3, found on Earth. Another form of calcium silicon O3, known as wollastonite, is commonly found across the globe, but Dave Mauite has a crystalline structure that forms only under high pressures and high temperatures in Earth's mantle, the mainly solid layer of Earth trapped between the outer core and the crust. How are we thinking about this so far?
Sounds awesome.
To be honest, and since I'm in a chemistry class right now, this is pretty interesting. Okay, continuing.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Dave Mauite has long been expected to be an abundant and geochemically important mineral in Earth's mantle. That's interesting. But scientists have never found any direct evidence of its existence because it breaks down like other minerals when it moves toward the surface and pressure decreases. However, analysis of a diamond from Botswana, which formed in the mantle around 410 miles, 660 kilometers below Earth's surface, has revealed a sample of intact Dave Mauite trapped inside. As a result, the International Mineralogical Association has now confirmed Dave Mauite as a new mineral. That is really interesting so far. And pretty crazy stuff. And I think we have some more. Is this more stuff talking about the Dave Mauite, or is... I don't know if this is... There's some more stuff that's a little down below. I think... Oh, wait, yeah, this is some more stuff, I think. Okay. The discovery of Dave Mauite came as a surprise. Lead author Oliver, I think it's Schauner, a A mineralogist at a mineral person at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas told Live Science. Schauner and his colleagues uncovered the Dave Malite sample with a technique known as synchrotron X-ray diffraction, which focuses a high-energy beam of X-rays on certain spots within the diamond with microscopic precision. By measuring the angle and intensity of the returning light, researchers can decipher what's inside, Schauner said. The sample of Dave Malite within the diamond was just a few micrometers, millionths of a meter, in size, so less powerful sampling techniques would have missed it, he added. So is this like some sort of a very tiny mineral that exists inside a diamond?
I mean, diamonds are small, so...
Yeah. Small, yet very expensive. Dave Malite is believed to play an important geochemical role in Earth's mantle. Scientists theorize that the mineral may also contain other trace elements, including uranium and thorium. Well, we know what uranium can be like, because it was used to create nuclear weapons, which release heat via radioactive decay. Therefore, Dave Malite may help to generate a substantial amount of heat in the mantle, Schauner said. In a 2014 study published in the journal Science, researchers described another theoretical high-pressure mineral from the mantle known as brigmanite. Bridgmanite. However, the sample of bridgmanite did not originate from the mantle, but rather inside a meteorite. The discovery of Dave Malite shows that diamonds can form farther down in the mantle than previously thought, and it suggests that they might be the best place to look for more new minerals from the mantle, Schauner said. The work by Schauner et al. Inspires hope in the discovery of other difficult high-pressure phases in nature. Yingwei Fei, geophysicist at the Carnegie Institution for Science in Washington, D.C., who was not involved in the study, said in a related Science article, such direct sampling of the inaccessible lower mantle would fill our knowledge gap in chemical composition of the entire mantle of our planet. The study was published online November 11th in the Journal of Science. That was a pretty interesting read about this new mineral. So it could be really substantial, as it seems, and it plays an important geochemical role in the Earth's mantle. So what exactly is... Oh, it's heat and radioactive decay. Okay. That's what it's supposed to help with.
Wait, what was it? Radio something decay?
Well, hold on. Let me try to find it again. Okay, I missed it. Three rise of the middle. It releases heat via radioactive decay, so it'll help generate a substantial amount of heat in the mantle. That's what it's really important for, is generating the heat in the mantle.
That's cool.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Let us, to the YouTube audience, maybe let us know if you want to see us talk about any articles that are kind of similar to this, or any other miscellaneous articles that we may stumble across one day that mention something that seems very interesting and that might be worth talking about. And that was pretty interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
Okay, and I just found another article that mentions Octane trick lets you double jump from Apex Legends gravity cannons. Do you want to take a look at this?
What?
A trick
what?
A trick with
awesome.
Octane allows you to double jump while using the gravity cannons on Apex Legends' newest map, Stormpoint. Okay, let's get into this article by Dexerto right now, and let's give our thoughts on it. Gravity cannons are the hottest trend right now in Apex Legends. I kind of doubt that. Released with the new map in Season 11, the rotational tools have brought a breath of fresh air for players. I mean, that is also true. I mean, it's not the hottest thing in the game right now, but it sure has brought fresh air. Brought some fresh air.
Seems nice.
They give players the chance to travel the map in style and pull off some exciting outplays that leave enemies baffled. Like, I mean, they have found a way to tap strafe out of them, so I guess that's also true. However, you can take advantage of the cannons with specific legends. A trick has been found when using Octane that allows you to double jump when inside the cannon, and it makes the getting around the map easier than ever. Okay, now we're going to get into the nitty gritty about the exploit. Since the release of Stormpoint, crafty players have pulled off impressive outplays with gravity cannons by using the likes of Loba's abilities. But now players have found that using Octane's jump pad lets you double jump while you're traveling in the air. In the video uploaded on November 11th, Apex Legends creator Moki Sniper showed multiple ways how can use Octane's jump pad can be used to double jump in the cannon. The simple trick allows players to go even further than where they're supposed to land, or they can shift off course and land somewhere entirely different as demonstrated numerous times in the video. I don't think we're going to watch the video, but there are multiple ways to do the trick which were showcased in Moki Sniper's video, and you can even do it all by yourself. It remains to be seen as to whether Respawn will have to act and get rid of the trick, or if they'll simply let it slide. That seems really interesting. How we can exploit them. I kind of thought that gravity cannons you should be allowed to double jump by default with them. Or I don't know how powerful that would be, but I would really like it. Make it like what they did with the jump pad back then. Make it so you can double jump with gravity cannons. Like, I'd personally really like that more than the state they're in right now. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, to be honest, when they were released, I thought they were awesome, but then like after a while, they just felt kind of bland, you know? Because you can't really, because once you hit the ground, you have that stun, which is annoying. But I mean, you can find ways to counter it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool in a way. It's a cool technical, mechanical system, or mechanical. I don't know how to phrase it.
Cool I was actually able to kind of like get behind this fall stun like earlier. I just like. I did some sort of slide and I just banged right up against like a mountain.
Yeah, I hit a rock.
It was really fast.
Just slam your head.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And that's that. So I'll probably link Moki Sniper's video in the description of this video so you can go check out the trick for yourself. I don't think we're going to be able to watch it on the podcast though. And I've actually now just come across another miscellaneous article by Yahoo News, and it talks about Earth has a second moon for another 300 years at least. I was like, what the heck? When I came across this article at first. But I think we'll read this to see, like, what the heck this is. I don't know what this is. Okay. It's easy to be brand loyal to the moon. We've only got the one. After all, unlike Jupiter and Saturn, where you'd have dozens to choose from, here it's Luna or nada. Or not.
Who wrote this?
I think it's a pun. I don't know. The fact is, there's another sort of kind of moon and a sort of kind of orbit around Earth. This person who wrote this article that was discovered only in 2016. Okay, so this is not new. And according to a new study in Nature, we may at last know how it was formed. I don't know how you pronounce this, but I think it's Kasi. The Kasi moon named Kamo-o-lewa. I don't know how to pronounce that. After a Hawaiian word that refers to a moving celestial object. It's not much to speak of, measuring less than 50 meters or 164 feet across. It circles the Earth in a repeating corkscrew-like trajectory that brings it no closer than 40 to 100 times the 384,000 kilometers or 239,000 miles distance of our more familiar moon. Its odd flight path is caused by the competing gravitational pull of the Earth and the Sun, which continually bend and torque in the moonlet's motions, preventing it from achieving a more conventional orbit. It's primarily influenced just by the sun's gravity, but this pattern shows up because it's also, but not quite, on an Earth-like orbit. So it's this sort of odd dance, says graduate student Ben Sharkey of the Lunar and Planetary Laboratory at the University of Arizona, the lead author of the paper. None of this means that I'll call it Camo, has to have especially exotic origins. The solar system is littered with asteroids, some of which are captured by the gravity of other planets and become more conventional if fragmentary moons. Others don't orbit other planets in the common way but fall into line in front of them or behind them and pace them in their orbits around the sun, like the flocks of so-called Trojan asteroids that precede and trail Jupiter. Most popular from time. Either way, Camo was bound to get attention because its composition posed a stubborn mystery. Asteroids tend to reflect brightly in certain infrared frequencies, but Camo just doesn't. It's dimmer somehow, clearly made of different stuff, which suggests a different origin. This is really interesting. and yet I don't know if this is real or not. What are you thinking so far?
I don't even know. This sounds weird.
It is. To investigate the mystery, Sharkey, under the guidance of his PhD advisor, planetary scientist Vishnu Reddy, first turned to a NASA-run telescope in Hawaii routinely used for studying Earth vicinity asteroids. But even through the usually reliable instrument, the infrared signatures seemed too faint. Instead, they switched to a University of Arizona-run monocular telescope that, as Sharkey says, could squeeze every last ounce of photons out of that object. I've had enough to learning about photons and electrons and all that stuff that produced better, clearer results, but still, they were incomplete. The rock was made of common silicates like other asteroids, but they were common only in their general composition, not in their infrared signature, which remained stubbornly off. At last, the answer suggested itself. If Kamo was behaving like a sort of Kasi moon, perhaps it was an artifact of the actual moon. Earlier in Sharkey's PhD program, one of his advisors published a paper on lunar samples brought back by the Apollo 14 mission in 1971. When Sharkey compared the data he was getting in his telescope with what the earlier geologists came up with in the rock lab, the results matched perfectly. The kind of space weathering lunar silicates undergo when they're still on the surface of the moon precisely accounted for the differences in the infrared reflectivity between common asteroids and Kamo. Visually, what you're seeing is weathered silicate, says Sharkey. The eons of exposure to space, environment, and the micrometeorite impacts. It's almost like a fingerprint, and it's hard to miss. How Kamo shook free of our lunar companion is no mystery. The moon's been getting bombarded by space rocks for billions of years, resulting in all manner of lunar debris getting ejected into space, nearly 500 bits of which have made it to the surface of the Earth as meteorites. Kamo is one such piece of lunar rubble that spiraled away from the moon, but rather than landing on Earth or simply tumbling off into the void, it found itself a Kasi satellite in its own right. Interesting. Dang, this was a long article. We're about to come up towards the end of it, don't worry. We see thousands of craters on the moon, so some of this lunar ejecta has to be sticking around in space, says Sharkey. Kamo won't stick around all that long, as its current trajectory is not entirely stable. According to estimates from Sharkey and others, the object will remain an earthly companion for only about 300 more years. Interesting. Nothing at all on the cosmic clock, after which it will break free of its current gravitational chains and twirl off into the void. Originally a part of the moon, then a companion of Earth, it will spend the rest of its long life traveling on its own. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that this supposed second moon is an asteroid?
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's ended up getting in like some sort of pull with Earth somehow. This was a weird
collided
article.
with the gravity.
Yeah, this was an interesting article. A little weird.
Like, I heard in like a million or probably a billion years, the moon will get crushed up, and the Earth will have a ring, like Saturn.
Ooh, that would be
Yeah.
interesting, to be honest. Moon.
Yeah, it sounds cool. It sounds cool, even though I'm not gonna live to see it. Sounds cool.
Yeah, probably. That's going to be a very, very long time from now. And this kind of brings me to like my curiosity of what could be on the other side of the moon. The dark side of the moon that we can't see. Like of course, like
I think it's more moon, to be honest.
yeah, I'm guessing it's probably just more moon. Or who knows, maybe there's some alien creatures that are hiding there and are getting ready to kill us at some point.
Ooh.
Ooh, be prepared. Oh, whatever.
I mean, is there a reason why we don't? Like, is there a reason why astronauts can't go there or something?
I mean, we could.
Because it's too cold or something?
I mean, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into why we haven't really gone to, like, the dark side of the moon. I'm guessing it's probably because, like, going to the moon, I guess, is already hard in itself, to be honest. So, I think that's the main reason why we haven't really explored it. But maybe at some point, like, in the future, there'll be some brave astronauts, and that will take to the moon. And we'll go discover
All
the dark
astronauts
side.
are brave.
True.
All astronauts are brave.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You gotta be really brave to do something like that. Like, go up to a completely
Just
different
be
planet.
gone for months. All alone with, like, people you're gonna be with. Like, that can make you go insane.
Yeah. I remember
it's
there
kind of
was.
sad in a way.
Yeah, I remember there was one dude I think that spent a whole year up in space. But I actually don't know if it was a year or so. But yeah, it's just insane living up there. And I don't know if there's really not much, but yeah, it seems like it could get boring after a while. I'd probably
Yeah,
want to. I'd probably only want to stay up in like space for like maybe like at most a week, and would want to come right back home to Earth. Cause I think it would. Yeah, I would for sure miss being on this place. And yeah, that's all we have like in terms of space talk now. This was an interesting podcast episode. I think we're going to be ending it off like really soon. So let's recap what exactly we've talked about so far. We talked about our Apex Legends news in terms of a folklore event that will be coming, kind of recapped on the Space for Pirates event that we've mentioned before. We are also kind of giving our thoughts about the Holo-Day Bash event, kind of. And we talked about the changes that will be coming to Store Point later on with like end circles and cover. I think it's already been dealt with, but I don't really know. And we did talk about the Octane double jump glitch you can do with the gravity cannons. We talked about I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, we talked about the Microsoft Windows 11 thing with like web browser blocking, which is crazy. And we also talked about a new mineral that was found inside of a diamond, and we talked about this second moon, which is very interesting, I guess. And yeah, this was the first episode we really went more off the usual topic and whatever. So it was pretty cool. What do you think about this episode?
I mean, we can talk about whatever, like on the podcast. Like we don't have to be
Yeah.
limited by Apex Legends. You know what I mean? Like we can literally talk about anything. Like we can talk
Yeah.
about how our days went. We can talk about what we did this week or this weekend. You know, stuff
True.
like that.
I
Like, we
do
can do
have a
anything.
place to go pretty soon, so we will have to end the podcast soon. Maybe I'll probably talk about some more stuff that's kind of like went on, I guess, in like the outside life, outside of YouTube and outside of this podcast. And for sure, we will be bringing a lot more different topics other than just Apex Legends related stuff. I have talked about that for a long time, and we are now starting to initiate that. And it's going to be really fun and really
Yes.
cool. And hopefully, this will expand our audience too. I don't really know. But yeah. And I think that's going to be all for episode 20 of the Triple A-Pex Podcast. To the YouTube audience, if you did end up enjoying this episode, then be sure to give it a like. And if you are brand new here to the channel, then be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you can get notified for whenever I upload a new video. And that bell icon will also be really helpful for whenever a new podcast episode is uploaded to YouTube. Also, be sure to join the Discord server. The link will be in the description below, and that is where I do the podcast from live. So if you want to listen to the podcast live and help us get an audience, then be sure to join the Discord server. Once again, the link is in the description.
Yes.
Also, be sure if you have Guilded and are looking for any servers to join on there, I have Guilded server too, so I'll leave a link to that in the description for you as well. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/3LNEX, and be sure to follow my Instagram as well at 3LNEX.gg. Do you want to plug in your socials as well?
Follow me on known as Castle on Instagram.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, once again,
Sure.
that's going to be all for episode 20 of the Triple A-Pex
Oh
Podcast.
my dog! Shut the fuck up! No.
Okay. Once again, that's all for episode 20 of the Triple A-Pex Podcast, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.